You know, in data science, we get so obsessed with one thing, building a super accurate model. It feels like the ultimate prize, right? But here's the thing, what if that's actually the easy part? The real challenge, the part that actually matters, is making that model do something useful. So, let's get real. Let's talk about why most data science projects actually fail.
And this is the tough truth. Most data science projects, they just never make it into the real world. I'm talking about brilliant, complex models that end up as, well, digital ghosts. They're just sitting there, stuck in a Jupyter notebook or some dashboard nobody ever looks at. They never get used. And that is a huge, huge waste of time, talent, and money.
So let's do a little postmortem. We're going to take a walk through what I call the project graveyard and figure out what went wrong. We'll break down the 5 biggest reasons that great models end up dead on arrival. Because, understanding these mistakes is the absolute first step to making sure you don't repeat them. All right, reason number 1. And honestly, this one kills projects before they even get started. It's when there's no clear problem to solve. We data scientists, we love our tools. We jump right into building a model without really stopping to ask, what business decision am I actually trying to help someone make? It's that classic, I've got a cool hammer, now I just need to find a nail problem.
And check this out. A tiny change in how you frame the question makes a world of difference. Saying, hey, build me a churn model, that's super vague. It's not actionable. But what if you ask, who specifically is most likely to cancel their subscription next month? Now that gives the marketing team a list of names they can actually do something about. See the difference?
Okay, moving on to the next 2 big ones. I like to call these the forgotten fundamentals because so many teams just get them wrong. And they're all about 2 things, the data itself and the people you're building the model for. Reason number 2 is all about data quality.
And look, you've heard this a million times, but it's true. Garbage in, garbage out. Simple as that. If your data is a total mess, full of missing values, weird formatting, just inconsistent, then your model's basically built on a foundation of sand. It doesn't matter how fancy your algorithm is, it's gonna collapse.
Let's be real. Spending hours cleaning and standardizing data isn't the glamorous part of the job, but I'm telling you, it is way more important than picking some super complex, newfangled algorithm. Solid, clean data will beat a fancy algorithm any day of the week, every single time.
And that brings us right to reason number 3, modeling in a vacuum. This is the people problem. That happens all the time. A data scientist goes off into a corner, builds what they think is a perfect model, and then they unveil it, only to find out that nobody on the front lines can actually use it. Why? Because they never talked to them in the first place.
Think about it like this. Imagine you build this amazing model that predicts delivery delays with incredible accuracy. Awesome, right? But what if the logistics team only gets that prediction an hour before the delay happens? It's totally useless. They can't do anything about it. If you had just involved them from the start, you could have asked a simple, powerful question. Hey, how are you actually going to use this, and when do you need the information to make a difference?
Okay, so let's just quickly recap those first 3 project killers. You've got an unclear problem statement, you're working with unreliable, messy data, and you're not talking to the people who are supposed to use your work. Get even one of those wrong, and your project is already in serious trouble.
But let's say you nail those first 3. You're not out of the woods yet. There are still 2 final hurdles that can completely derail your project right at the finish line. It comes down to perfection and planning.
All right, reason number 4 is a big one, obsessing over accuracy. Come on, we all want to brag about getting 98% or 99% accuracy, right? But here's the secret. Accuracy is usually just a vanity metric. What really, truly matters isn't how correct your model is in a vacuum, but how genuinely useful it is when it hits the real world.
I mean, think about a fraud detection model. A model that's 98% accurate but creates hundreds of false alarms, flagging legitimate transactions and annoying your customers. That's a total nightmare for the business. You know what's better? A model that's maybe only 75% accurate but reliably finds the biggest, most critical fraud cases. That's the real winner. You've got to optimize for impact, not for some perfect score.
And that brings us to the 5th and final reason great models die. They simply never get deployed. They never leave the lab. A model is just a bunch of code, an abstract idea, until it's actually plugged into a business process where a real person can use it to do their job better.
Honestly, a brilliant model stuck in a Jupyter notebook is a tragedy. It's such a waste. You need to be thinking about deployment from day one. Seriously. Is this thing going to become an API? Will people see it in a dashboard? Is it going to trigger an automated alert? If you don't have a plan for how it's going to live and breathe in the real world, then what you've built is just a cool academic exercise, nothing more. So we've gone through all 5 of these common reasons that projects fail. But if you look closely, they all kind of point back to one single, incredibly powerful idea. A rule that, if you really take it to heart, will completely change how you approach data science.
And this is it. This is the whole ball game right here. If nobody changes a single decision because of your model, then you didn't finish the job. It doesn't matter how accurate it is, how elegant the code is. If it doesn't change behavior, it has delivered 0 value. Period.
So what's the real takeaway here? It's about a huge mindset shift. Your job isn't to be a model builder. Your job is to be a problem solver. You're not just a technician crunching numbers. You are a strategic partner who helps the business make smarter, better decisions using data. So, I'm going to leave you with a question to ask yourself on your very next project. Before you write a single line of code, just stop and ask, am I just trying to build a cool model here, or am I actually focused on changing a decision? Because how you answer that question, that will determine whether your project succeeds or ends up in the graveyard.
If you really want to dive deeper into how to create real-world impact with data, you should check out the boot camp at Dallas Data Science Academy. Thanks so much for tuning in.